Jungkook's POV. I entered my home, and for the first time, I felt like this is not my home anymore. It's merely a mansion made of bricks and stones. Her absence is evident as there is no noise except the murmurs of maids and the clattering of my boots. I can hear the noise of my heart beating in my head. This much silence is suffocating me. My gaze automatically wandered around desperately to find her, but I knew she had already left. Unable to bear my own emotions, I roared in harsh voice. Why no one followed her? Glared at the guards, causing them to gulp and look down immediately. Am I paying you to give me bad news all the time? Points at the head of his main guard. She not only left me alone, she took my peace and good side with her as well. Only her presence can calm me down now. Only she can keep me in my limits. I observed the frightened guards, but I loaded my without giving any F about anything. She should know that her presence is crucial for stopping the insane beast inside. What are you doing, Jungkook? Entered the living room with hurried steps. Maid has informed Jimin about the incident to save themselves from Jungkook's cruel side. Roared loudly and first the vase, then window, causing everyone to flinch and shiver on their places, but no one dared to move an inch. This will not bring her back. Go look for her. I'll deal with these guards. Spoke while approaching Jungkook. I looked for her everywhere. My men are still looking for her. But she is nowhere to be found till now. It's getting late and dangerous. And I don't even know the reason why she left me, when everything was good till morning. A tear of frustration escaped his eye and he let out a demonic scream loudly, once again scaring the hell out of everyone. Did she say anything before leaving? Asked one of the maids, trembling. Sir, she was crying, and I heard her say that Master ended her father. Gaze stuck to the ground. What? Who told her? I couldn't help but scowl and exchange a glance with Jimin, who was equally perplexed as I. Anything else? Asked the maid. One of the maids came forward and extended a phone towards me. Wine spoon? Ma'am smashed it against the wall while crying. I tried turning it on and it worked. I started checking it and opened the messages. My eyes widened as I witnessed the trauma she went through just a few minutes ago. An unknown number texted her several pictures of her father's body, and that guy standing at the scene looks like me. Jimin snatched the phone from my grasp and gasped. When did you do that? I tightened my fist and jaws and vowed to destroy everyone involved. I dashed out of the mansion, eager to see my girl. I'll cross mountains and defy fate itself to find you. No one can take you away from me, not even you. Vine's POV. I can't bear it. I cannot bear it anymore. Why did he do that? I thought he would have left Dad after taking me, but he has my family's on his hands. If he truly loved me, he wouldn't have done that. Maybe he thought that Dad was never good to me, so he ended him. But I still don't justify his actions, and it's still not love, it's obsession. I'm hating myself for still finding excuses for his crime. I'm hating myself because I can't hate him. Silent tears kept making their way out of my eyes and my body shuddered as cold air invaded the pores of my skin. Suddenly I felt hot breath hitting the skin of my neck, making my hair stand and shiver run down my spine. I clearly know who is he, who can stand this much close to me until he is alive. Only he can. I resisted to break the chain of my thoughts until he snaked his arm around my waist and pulled me closer, causing my back to collide with his chest. I breathed out a gasp as I felt his heart race. He had run a marathon, and I could not help but sob more in his embrace. I'm sorry. Nuzzled his face in the crook of her neck, inhaled her scent, and exhaled, feeling relaxed finally. I know if I don't do this now, then I'll never be able to leave him. I forcefully removed his hand from my waist, spun around and lifted my hand in the air to give him a tight slap on his face, but my hand froze midway when I looked at him. My heart skipped a beat as I looked into his starry blue eyes, red nose and slightly trembling lips. He was ready to get hit, but I could not bring myself to hurt him even a bit, and the thought of raising my hand on him made me cry miserably. He quickly embraced me and stroked my back to calm me down. He is so good to me, then how he can end my father? This thought made me angry and I tried to break the hug, but he refused to let me go by tightening the hug. I started hitting him on the chest, but he still refused to let me go. After struggling in his embrace for what feels like eternity, I gave up and finally stopped hitting him. Don't touch me with these hands. They have innocence on them. Cried in anger. If I say I did not kill your father, would you believe me? Still hugging her. What? I pushed him by his chest and gave him a death glare. Why did you apologize then, huh? Rudely asked. Because I once again become the cause of your misery, even though this time it's not my fault. Grabbed her hand gently. Do you trust me? Stared in her eyes. I did not say anything since I knew I trusted him. He leaned closer to me, his breath striking my lips, but I did not break eye contact with him or push him away. Push me if you don't trust me, whispered against her lips. I don't want to tell you that I trust you, but I still want you to know that I trust you. Still did not break eye contact, even though her tears were flowing like a river. He took the sign and captured her petals in his, as if he had been waiting for this moment his entire life. He quenched the thirst of his burning desires under the moonlight and gratefully treated her as the God-sent gift. After pulling back, he hugged her again, and this time she hugged him back and placed her ear on his heart to feel the mystic rhythm of his heartbeat, which eased the pain in her heart. I know Dad did not treat me right, but he is still my dad, sobbed once more. He was good, but lost his way after Mom's death. Tried to gulp her tears. He did not deserve to be killed that brutally. Spoke like a child complains to an elder. At this moment, Jungkook became her everything, her elder, her guardian, her family, her friend, her love. Within a few days, I'll give the worst to whoever did that. I promise. He broke the hug and kissed her forehead, but her question made him pull back and give her a done look. Why would you do that? Noticed his intense gaze and became nervous. I mean, why would you involve yourself in this? If you think that I don't trust you, then feel free. Even if you tell me elephants can fly, I will believe you. Chuckled upon hearing her, as this was unexpected for him. Your pain is my pain. Your revenge is my revenge. And you are? Pecks her entire face, causing her to giggle slightly due to the tickling sensation. Mine. Pecks both cheek. Mine. Pecks nose. Mine. Lastly gave a long peck on lips. And don't ever leave me like this. I got so worried that I was about to call an ambulance. Pouts unintentionally while still hugging her from the waist. Ambulance? Frowns. Yes, for myself. I felt as if my heart might stop beating. She laughed and he laughed as well. Indeed, only Jeon Jungkook possessed the ability to make his girl laugh in a situation like this. Few days later, Jungkook entered the nightclub. Strong smell of alcohol hit his nostrils, making him scrunch his nose. He darkly glanced around at the people, their bodies against each other, looking miserable to him. He shook his head while walking, muttering several curse words. Everyone was lost in their own world, without acknowledging the upcoming disaster. He climbed the stairs, ignoring the girls who were giving him seductive look, without knowing the dark truth behind his attractive features. He entered the VIP room directly and locked it. His eyes caught the sight of a figure laying on one of the large couches, which caused him to smirk and bite his lips to contain his excitement. These things for sure excites this mafia, as this is the only time he can reveal his true nature. He approached the couch with booming steps, making his presence known. Oh, my friend, stretched his arms for a hug while still sitting on the couch. Three options, Minho. Should I end you for breaking my wine's heart? Should I end you for approaching her again? Or should I end you for traumatizing her by killing her father and blaming it on me? Smiles calmly as if everything is fine. Minho's demeanor changed, and he stood up from the couch to face Jungkook. You will kill me for a mere girl. Jungkook grabbed Minho's collar and jerked his body violently. She is not just a mere girl. She is my wife, my love. She is mine, only mine. Jerked Minho like a ragdoll with each word he said. Chuckles trying to piss Jungkook. One man's trash is another man's come up. And with that dialogue he delivered, he received a gift of continuous blows from Jungkook. However, this time Minho was well prepared. He shoved Jungkook away and spat before running towards him and kicking him in the stomach, causing Jungkook to stagger backward. Jungkook straightened up again, clenched his fist, and gazed at Minho darkly. He was about to take his out and end it once for all, but Minho mocked him, causing him to halt. Oh, come on, Jungkook. Be a man for once. Try to fight and win without her. Hearing this, Jungkook took his out and threw it in the corner of the room. He cracked his neck and knuckles and gave Minho a devilish smirk, which God knows why pissed Minho. He jumped on Jungkook with kicks and punches, which Jungkook dodged successfully. Minho grew frustrated and tore his own shirt apart, showcasing his muscles. Chuckles. That's why Wahan rejected you that day. These mocking words of Jungkook worked like gasoline on fire, and Minho became furious like a bull seeing red. He took the upper hand in fight and started hitting Jungkook while sitting on his stomach as if there was no tomorrow. And as ridiculous as it may sound, it's true that Jungkook let him hit, because it's probably the last time he will be able to hit someone. Now Jungkook's mouth and nose were bleeding profusely, and he began laughing like a maniac. Upon hearing his loud laughter, Minho became a little confused and slowed down for a moment. It tickles, laughing. Jungkook's laughter started to sound creepy, which made Minho panic a little because he knows the meaning behind this. In the blink of an eye, their position was swapped. Now Jungkook was giving punches on Minho's face directly. You have seen my friendship before. Continuous punching without any mercy. Now you will see my enmity. Wrath. Love for wine. Obsession for wine. Minho was going blank due to the severity of the pain. Jungkook stepped away for a bit and stood up. His shirt was getting in the way, so he tore it, revealing his gigantic body, which was going to be the cause of Minho's demise. Minho stood up with the utmost difficulty, but Jungkook was fast enough to catch him before he ran away and started him. He used so much force that Minho tapped his arm, signaling to release, flipped back, fell on the couch, and then down off the couch along with Jungkook on the top. With the last punch, Jungkook again left him and stood up. Minho, who was gasping for air a moment ago, hurriedly crept to the other corner of the room and took the throne by Jungkook at the start. Jungkook laughs and shakes his head side to side as if he is watching a child acting naughty. What an actor. Approached Minho calmly. Minho pointed towards Jungkook and pressed the trigger. But Jungkook knelt down swiftly, covered the muzzle of the with his hand, and the bullet penetrated through his hand. Yet he did not even flinch. Even Minho was taken aback and began to question whether it was madness or bravery. Before Minho could press the trigger again, Jungkook twisted his wrist, and now magically the pistol was in Jungkook's hand. Without changing the calm demeanor, Jungkook Minho in his both legs by pressing in his skin. Minho screamed, and Jungkook laughed on his face. I can cut your head off and gift it to her, but my girl is a little sensitive. I don't want to traumatize her. However, this does not mean that I won't cut your head off. I did not end him alone. Gasped in pain, accepting his defeat. Jungkook frowned and said, Name, so I might give you an easy escape. Made sure that Minho is, nonetheless, smirks, your father. But his smirk vanished when Jungkook patted his face harshly while smirking and stood up to leave, but turned around and Next day, Vine's POV. I'm watching TV to distract myself as I'm still thinking about those pictures. Jungkook is working in his office at the mansion. I'm aimlessly surfing through channels as nothing is catching my interest. I sighed as I was about to switch off the TV, but a news channel and its news caught my attention. I got goosebumps upon hearing the news, as it was hard to believe but not impossible, as I already saw it coming. Good evening. This is Julia Jane reporting live from Seoul. We bring you breaking news on a horrible tragedy that unfolded last night in the Dark Valley nightclub. Behind me is the scene where the unthinkable occurred. Details are still emerging, but what we know so far that is the victim, identified as a young entrepreneur Kang Min-ho, got brutally by someone here. The murderer also left a single car on the deceased body. Authorities have yet to provide specific information about the nature of the incident. The incident has left the local community rattled. I felt my heart beating in my throat, and I changed the channel, but a news on the next channel made me frown. Behind me lies the aftermath of a catastrophic fire that devoured Mr. Jeon Jungkook's property. Firefighters fought the fire for hours, and regrettably, the mansion and its content were completely destroyed. Not only this, all the factories of Mr. Jeon went through the same act of arson. Authorities suspect that an unknown offender intentionally set fire to the property, as the Joker cars were discovered fluttering around on the scene. I switched off the TV and dashed to his office and directly entered without knocking. He looked at me shocked and stood up as I stood in front of him and glared at him. Now you're turning me on. Placed his hand on his chest and patted himself to control. Don't you think you did way too much? I love you way too much. Made his way towards her and pulled her close to him by grabbing her waist. Placed her hand on his chest. He was your friend. Was. Still. Hurt you, then tried to snatch you from me. Tried to get me and Jimin killed on a mansion by betraying us. But your phone call saved us. Then killed your father and blamed it on me. Tell me what kind of friend does that? Softly grazing her skin while whispering against her lips. And why you burned Mr. Jones' property? Closed her eyes as his hands were roaming on her body, giving her a different sensation of pleasure. He was in the planning as he had some beef with your father in the past, but I did not end him, as he was only involved in planning. I deserve a thank you note from him. Kissed her shoulder. But started marking her neck. Don't talk about others. Continues painting her neck with his art. Talk about us. Just say my name. Vine threw her head back in prayer and a sinful sound escaped her lips, making Jungkook lose his control. He lifted her up and made her sit on the table. And same shit, different day, yelled upon witnessing the scene and ran back. Vine and Jungkook looked toward the door, stunned, and soon burst into laughter.